This is a must-watch romantic movie for couples who want to confess their love. But the story begins with a tragedy. The man had just married when his wife unfortunately passed away in an accident. Devastated, he destroyed his villa and shattered his life into pieces. That was until he accidentally met another girl, Annie. His heart, which had turned to stone, didn't want to fall for anyone again. But who could resist in Hathaway? Annie unbuttons her shirt for an examination, and Mickey, who should have looked away, couldn't take his eyes off her. Smart women often appear as prey, successfully attracting Mickey by getting his hands on her medical records. When Annie received his call, she wasn't surprised. This was a common tactic used by men around her. Smart women often appear as prey, willingly playing along in a love game. So, when they met, the first greeting was all too telling. Mickey was outmatched, unable to resist Annie's advances. His sincere compliments were taken as mere flattery by Annie, who didn't shy away from admitting her illness but still hid her trembling hands. Mickey, unaware of the severity of her condition, mistook it for nervousness and continued to make a bunch of affectionate confessions. But Annie saw through him immediately. This was just another one of her suitor's fake moves. Mickey, however, mistook her act as genuine. To Annie, Mickey seemed like someone only interested in her beauty, a fleeting passion, without realizing that Mickey had been in love with her for a long time. The love in Mickey's eyes was unmistakable, but Annie misinterpreted it as lust. Yet, it wasn't entirely Annie's fault for misunderstanding. After all, she was young and already suffering from Parkinson's disease. But that night, Mickey had no improper intentions and simply kept her company on the sofa, chatting all night. The more serious Mickey was, the more afraid Annie became, as her trembling hands can't even open a packaging bag. When Mickey offered to call her after he returned home, she seriously refused. But Mickey had already fallen deeply in love with her. As soon as he got home, he dialed Annie's number. Annie, on the other end, didn't want to be swayed by his sweet words.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up.
Why?
I like hearing the sound of your voice.
Annie could hear the sincerity in Mickey's voice, but hung up after a moment of being moved. She was afraid of falling into a love that had no future, so she planned to avoid Mickey by taking a business trip. But before she could get on the car, Mickey had already chased after her. She told Mickey to stop bothering her, unaware that Mickey would not give up. To be the first to see her return, Mickey spent 3 days and nights in his car, waiting. Finally, when Annie appeared, Mickey's unwavering persistence completely won her over. This second chance at love, earned by Mickey's sincerity, was captured by Annie with her camera, recording every sweet moment they shared. And the smiles they shared inside the car were brighter than the sunshine. Mickey's heartfelt, who longed for love, to tears. Yet, her trembling hands constantly reminded her that perhaps she wasn't meant to have love. She couldn't understand what Mickey saw in her.
Tell me, Randall, what exactly is it about me that's so desirable?
You just want to prove that you're not a heartless playboy. And that's only because you feel guilty towards someone with Parkinson's. Annie's assumptions weren't wrong. Her harsh words succeeded in driving Mickey away. But when Mickey actually left, her heart shattered like glass. How could someone walk away from a love so deep without any regret? He turned back out of both heartbreak and compassion. This wounded woman clearly loved him, but insisted on denying it. However, others couldn't understand his feelings. A friend advised him, "Why don't you find a healthy woman? Have you ever thought that the illness might take away all your love for her? Sooner or later, she'll lose control until she can't take care of herself." But while her friend's warnings were daunting, they also encouraged her to live courageously. Those optimistic and positive attitudes moved her to tears. She realized that battling the illness was a long war that she had to win to maintain dignity and grace in society. The moment she left the venue, she felt refreshed, her mind clear.
I've been such a bitch to you.
Oh,
And you didn't even run away. How's that possible? Like the first time in my life that I've ever not felt alone. That someone is there for me. Do you know what that means?
Annie finally met someone willing to protect her, and Mickey's care for her went far beyond that. He put aside his work to take Annie to hospitals nationwide in search of a cure for Parkinson's disease. Even during checkups, he would always stay by her side. Although he faced countless difficulties on the journey to find a cure, Mickey never complained. But Annie felt heartache seeing him exhausted from worrying about her illness. She couldn't bear to drag him down, knowing she was holding back his bright future.
You're a good man. Nobody wants to be the one runs away.
Realizing she had become a burden to Mickey, Annie couldn't forgive herself for being selfish in love. The only way to love him was to let him go. Just as he couldn't control when Annie came into her life, he couldn't control when Annie left. On that cold winter night, Annie tearfully pushed him out of her world and walked away. Annie no longer answered his calls, so Mickey threw himself into his work, burying his longing. Perhaps the world was too small, small enough that one could see the other smile with just a glance. To avoid worrying the other, they both said they were fine. But time didn't fade their love. Instead, it made that hard-won love stronger. There were moments when she wanted to take him back, but hearing the news that Mickey was going to Chicago to be a CEO, she couldn't bring herself to accept this love, instead leaving a simple blessing and walking away. But the love etched in time became an indelible memory. While packing, Mickey accidentally found a video Annie left behind, and he finally realized he couldn't lose another love.
Right now, the way the light's hitting that face of yours, I have this.
Love once missed might never come again. To save the love that was slipping away, he drove after Annie's bus to the airport. But Annie didn't want to give him a chance to confess. Despite the danger of a car accident, Mickey forced the bus to stop. This man, willing to risk everything for love, would not give up until he won her heart.
No, don't. You need someone to take care of you.
No, I don't.
Everybody does.
I'm gonna need you more than you need me.
I just may have to carry you.
Love is not a cure-all. Love has no remedy.